If someone asked me right now, what IEM should I get for under $300? I would hand them this. This is the Hidizs MP145 Pro. It packs a 14.5mm planar magnetic driver in a metal shell, and it comes with swappable tuning filters. I'll get into all of that, but the company is running their Kickstarter right now, so this is a pre-release unit that Hidizs sent to me for review. The early bird is $169, but there are other packages and even a titanium version. There's a link in the description. It's not an affiliate link, so I don't get anything from that. Yes, they sent these to me for review, but that is it. No money changing hands, and all opinions are my own. Now, what makes these special goes beyond the sound and the build. Hidizs is a Chinese audio company that has been around since 2009, and they have this partnership with whale and dolphin conservation, which has gone on since 2023. 2023 is a weird way to say 2023, but okay, whatever. Part of your purchase goes to protecting whales, which also explains the whale-inspired design and this nifty little whale button. These are not for everyone, but I think they are for most people, and by the end of this video, you'll know whether they're for you. Now, what's in the box? Hidizs did not hold back here. You get the IEMs, a hard case, 3 sets of tuning nozzles, a modular cable, and 4 types of ear tips. The case is this beautiful seafoam green, and I just love that color. It opens and closes like a jewelry box, not with a zipper, which is kind of nice. But if you stuff the IEM in the wrong way, or if you have too much in the netting, the lid stays a little open. There's a small mesh pocket inside for extras, and my only real gripe here is where it's positioned. It should be aligned with the hinge. Hidizs, if you're still in production on these, I hope you change that. The cable itself is fantastic. Looks great, sounds great, has interchangeable termination, and the fact that it's modular between single-ended 3.5mm and balanced 4.4 connectors, that's just good all around. And then there's the ear tip holder, which is something I really want them to change. The tips are mounted on a tray that makes them very hard to remove and nearly impossible to keep extras with you when you want to swap them on the go. I was using toothpicks, connector plugs, little sticks of wood. At one point I just smashed them flat on the table and cleaned up the mess. The one just popped out. Their other IEMs comes with these little skewers that work much better. Not my favorite, but they do work better than this. Now, moving on to the IEMs themselves, the design is inspired by whales. You've got ridges on the faceplate, the whale tail motif in the center, hidden vents on the other side. They look metro, futuristic, and almost Art Deco while still being nature-inspired. Hidizs does a great job at design, and this is no exception. Except you're probably going to get some gunk in those ridges, so watch out for that. I got the black version, which is beautiful. The gold is just as good, but if I was buying right now, I would have picked the blue. It looks absolutely stunning, especially paired with that seafoam green case. The build is CNC aluminum alloy. These feel heavy in the hand, but in the ear, super comfortable. Now, I have big ears. Chimps and elephants are jealous of my Ferengi-like lobes, but for me to say that these are comfortable doesn't tell the whole story. If you have big ears, you'll be fine. Average, you'll probably be fine. Small ears, that's a physical limitation, and you're not going to get around that. Now, let's talk about the tuning system. Hidizs has a tuning filter system that is a signature feature, and it is a feature that will keep me recommending them over and over and over again. You get 3 screw-in nozzles, color-coded, rose gold for balance, silver for treble emphasis, and red for warmth. The rose gold balanced nozzle is the default, and it is what I kept on for most of my testing. It sounded great with just about everything I threw at it. For classical, I loved this nozzle, even though Hidizs actually recommends the silver for classical. I get it. I understand why they do that, but I disagree. The silver nozzles emphasize the highs. Not a huge amount, but enough that it's noticeable. I'm a little treble sensitive, so I rarely use these myself. I just found it uncomfortable. For genres where you want a lot of clarity and detail, this is your filter. But I would avoid it for electronic music, rock, anything that relies on snares or cymbals or electric guitars. Swapping ear tips can help attenuate some of that, but at that point, just use the balanced nozzle. The red nozzles warm things up a little bit by pulling down the upper mids and some of the treble. For electronic genres and 70s soft rock, this is what I reach for. More relaxed, more laid back, honestly a lot more fun for me. Not as detailed certainly, but I enjoyed it. And on top of the nozzles, you have ear tips. Vocal tips accentuate voices. Bass tips reduce the treble a bit. Balance tips are balanced And the anemone tips are my favorites. They are balanced. I've talked about the anemone tips before, and I still love them. They ended up being my go-to for most of my testing. Specific pairings I kept coming back to included the balanced nozzle plus vocal tips for male vocals, the red nozzle plus anemone tips for electronic, and balanced nozzle plus anemone for just about everything else. Moving on to the sound, a quick disclaimer that these are my first pair of planar magnetic IEMs. What caught me off guard right away was just how good the deep bass rumble was. Hans Zimmer time from inception. It starts with this rhythmic bass, and then other instruments in that same register come in. With the MP145 Pro, you feel that bass, the clarity of the low strings, the pulsating, driving, tense calm at the beginning of that piece. It shows off some of the best that the MP145 Pro have to offer. This isn't a bass head set, but if you want bass that is tight, controlled, textured, and physical when the music calls for it, this is it. In the mids, voices come out very clear and clean, rich and silky. In Love's Dreamer, the separation between the voices at the start is impressive, especially with the vocal ear tips, which push the richness just enough. In the song Second Best from the same album, she's in front and center, and you can almost see her background singers and instrumentation laid out in front of her. The imaging in this is fantastic. Male vocals are just as rich. Wellerman by the Wellerman comes deliciously alive through the MP145 Pro. That's with the vocal tips and the balanced nozzle, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. The treble is the part of the sound that is most impacted by the tuning filters. The red filter is less detailed and more relaxed. The silver filter is more prominent and more rich, but a little too spicy for me most of the time. On classical, especially large orchestral works, the silver filter really does bring that ringing, shining quality forward. The balance filter wasn't that different. It just took the metallic bite out of it, which is subtle but important. This is most obvious on electronic music and anything that relies heavily on snares, cymbals, or hi-hats. A friend of mine recommended Tame Impala's most recent album, Deadbeat, and this is an album that, at least for me, is very dependent on what you listen to with it. I first heard it on a flight with my Bose Quiet Comfort Ultras, and it was okay. I was not impressed. Then I switched to the MP145 Pro. This was the same flight. I swapped the balanced nozzles for the red ones, and the difference was night and day. The nuance, the driving beats, the layers, the production, suddenly all of it was there, alive. I ended up listening through a couple of times on the same flight because it was that good. In addition, I also listened to the new Gorillaz album, The Mountain. If you haven't heard it, I highly recommend it. Highly detailed, well mastered, well produced, an album that really shines on the MP145 Pro. Now, with electronic music, this is where the red nozzle really earns its place. The Tame Impala story I just told you, that is the proof. The Gorillaz album, same thing. Highly detailed electronic production just opens up with these, but it can be a little harsh if the treble gets a little spicy. But what about other types of music? Something other than electronic? Well, going back to classical, these are already astonishingly good for that, especially modern classical, where you have a mix of orchestral and electronic instruments. For jazz, again, these are excellent. Tight bass, airy cymbals, vocals that breathe and have space and have their own separation. If you listen to vocal jazz or small ensembles, the balanced nozzle is going to be your friend. For rock and alternative, these are very good with a balanced nozzle. Complex drum patterns stay distinct, guitars don't collapse into each other. But for heavier stuff, the red nozzle adds some weight. Now, if you want that visceral slam, you might want to go somewhere else. That's more than these can offer. For pop and general all-rounder use, these just work. Mixed playlists, whatever you're streaming, they handle it. The tuning system means that you can adjust on the fly if something doesn't sit right. For hip hop, the bass is clean, it's textured, and it's deep, but it is not the boomy, soft, low end some people want from rap. These are not soupy at all. They won't give you that feeling in any way, shape, or form. If you're listening for production quality, great. If you want that club slam, that soupy quality, look elsewhere. One big thing to keep in mind is that the source matters. These will play off your phone, but they really want a clean signal. I noticed occasionally crackling at the very lowest volumes through the Apple USB-C to 3.5mm adapter on Android, for example. Give these at least a decent dongle or a DAP. They deserve it, and they'll reward you for it. One more note, I used a 3.5mm connector for most of my testing. 4.4 balance wasn't noticeably different in sound, it was just louder. I listened quietly, so 3.5mm was just fine for me. So, do I recommend the MP145 Pro? Yes, if you're looking for a solid IEM that is comfortable, built well, and that sounds great for under $300, these are hard to beat. The tuning system alone sets them apart. Avoid these if you have small ears. That's non-negotiable. It's just biology, physics. Anyway, thanks for your time. And if you made it this far, be sure to hit like and subscribe and maybe check out this other video right here. Take care.